Alison Priestman. I live and work in Stroud, Gloucestershire as a psychotherapist, supervisor and trainer. I'm creating a series of short videos to explore the themes of working therapeutically with embodiment, relationship and wildness. And I'm especially curious about how these three themes are interwoven and interconnected. I hope you enjoy. Embodied relating. I'm doing this video because I want to give you a taste, a flavour, more of a visceral experience, if possible, by what embodied relating is. And I'm inspired because I noticed that in almost all my work, I work as a trainer, so from a 3-hour-long webinar to a 2-year-long face-to-face training, embodied relating is a central theme. It's the core element that I keep coming back to. So it's the ground, it's the starting place, it's from what all therapeutic work grows from. And I like to think that hopefully that's everybody's therapeutic work, that we're all practicing embodied relating. Embodied relating, that particular name was created by Totton and specifically in his book from 2015. I really recommend you reading the book. It's very in-depth, informative and paradigm shifting. And bits of it are quite dense as well, so stick with it. Embodied relating, it also brings together relationship and embodiment and how those two things are intertwined, and when we look at one we bump into the other thing, that they're not separate. And also with those two bumping into each other, what we also bump into is our profession and our culture's disembodiment. Just got distracted by this beautiful little white butterfly that was fluttering by, and that reminds me what this is about is our response to other bodies, and it's primarily a response to other human being bodies, but it's also a response to the other than human, the butterflies that come by, the cats, the whatever else it meets. We will change each time we meet another being. Our heart rate changes, our central nervous system activation, we lean in, we lean away, we have gut reactions, and all this material is invited in. So embodied relating is studying our responses, and it's both a complex, sophisticated skill and a theory. So in Nick Totton's book, what he's aiming to do is to write a different underpinning for body psychotherapy, a different theoretical branch that is much more rooted in embodied experience. So if you like, embodied relating is another version of transference and countertransference, but in languaging and hopefully in experiencing that is fully engaging with this lived experience of what it is to be alive, what it is to be incarnate, what it is to be embodied, and how we bump up into and meet another is a very complex dance. As I said, complex dance, it's a really beautiful thing. Well, this little white butterfly just flew over and towards me, and I noticed myself inside just kind of dropping and calming, and I'm trying to talk about quite complex ideas and complex interactions, and the butterfly comes along and I drop back into myself, and I remember that what's incredibly important in life and in therapy is to find some balance between our theoretical, our thinking, and our lived embodied experience. And to relate to another, we need to keep coming back into ourselves, to land, to return into ourselves. And I would really encourage anyone, particularly anyone practicing as a therapist, to develop some kind of embodiment practice, something that you regularly do that brings you back into yourself. So it might be cycling, it might be swimming, it might be yoga, it might be painting, it might be watching butterflies, whatever it is, that regular thing which brings you more into the non-verbal place, that reminds you of your heartbeat, getting out of breath, of sweat, of your skin, of your feet on the ground. And can we remember those things when we're working with clients? Can we come back into ourselves? And can we use how our embodiment changes in relation to the other one as important information about the client's core wounding and about what we're creating together? Because relationship is a mutual process. So what does this mean in practice? What does this mean for counsellors and psychotherapists in practice? I think what's really important is being with ourselves, really listening to ourselves and having that moment-to-moment attention in all the different channels of our experience. So it might be that we follow our breath, it might be that we try and stay aware of our body and our seats, how we're moving, and aware of internal sensations in terms of feeling states and all those sort of nebulous on the edge places that are hard to define. And to track those as well as listening to and paying attention to our clients. So this is very kind of like juggling about 10 balls at once, and to try and be relaxed about it all as well, and just notice what we notice. And I think it's easy to get lost in client story or get lost in strong emotional effect. And what's really important is to keep dropping back into ourselves and to notice when we can't do that as well. So the ongoing practice of listening to ourselves in the trust that our embodiment is shaped and changed and moved in each moment by our clients and the interaction between us, and listening to ourselves is an enormous relational resource. And we learn throughout our careers to kind of find some stillness, to keep coming back to ourselves, but also it's that weird balance of kind of sitting in our chairs or outside, as I often work, being centered in myself, and also kind of allowing myself to be moved around and reshaped by my client, to kind of fall into the soup with them and trust that I will have some meta-awareness where I can go in and out and study what's happening. So embodied relating is the core skill that I'm utilising all the time. It is the ground, it is the place that I'm returning to all the time. So in its experience and its theoretical concepts about relationships, about the complexities of unconscious processes and reenactments. When we meet another, we can be deeply impacted by them. There is a mutuality to relationships. We become entrained to their rhythms as they become entrained to ours. Transference and countertransference are not separate things, they are two sides to one coin. We can get pulled into providing the counterpart to the other's relational pattern as they get pulled into providing the counterpart to ours. When things get difficult in therapy, a reenactment occurs, and the enactment is mutual. We can play out the script for our client as they play out the script for us.